All right, sports fans, what is up? We are back for a special episode of the Fan in the End. I'm your host, as always, Steve Michelle. To the bottom left of me, Mr. Marvin Powell, as per usual. To the right of Marvin is the big man himself, Mr. Ben Troupe. And to the right of me is our guest for this morning, Mr. David Smith. He's our local health and wellness expert. Where we're gonna talk everything on the medical side, what he does, how he's gotten involved in it. So we're gonna have a fun episode today. So it's gonna be the normal that it is on here. We always do a little back and forth, have some fun with some things, but one of these things that when Lick and Kate brought this up to me, I thought it was a great idea. Not only to have David on, but having both of our former athletes on with us, so we all can kind of learn a little bit from David this morning. So I guess I'll get this one started, David. So, what made you get into this field, man? What made you decide to be a part of this body wellness type stuff?
So thanks for having me here first, and I'll give you a little bit of the history. So started out, I was looking for the best products in the world. So I was doing a little bit of distribution, and I got sucked into the health aspects, and then I went, well, I need to know how these things work, right? Because I can't sell them and go them if I don't know that they're going to work and that they're any good. So got sucked into some of the health stuff, then ended up getting a health food store. And then the biggest question is, how do you determine what you need? I mean, a big question, especially for a lot of your people, right? Which supplements, what do I need? What's going to benefit me? What won't? So I started designing a program, optimal health and wellness program, where you didn't need to do testing, medical testing per se, but you would actually do, how can I do this at home? So you look at what things are going to work for you. You'd classify yourself according to different questionnaires. You'd see how your digestion's working, do a transit test, time when something goes in, time when it comes out. So I was looking for a very good way to determine what will work, what won't, how to classify people, how to determine what they need as an individual. Because that's like a big question for most people going, yeah, there's all this stuff here. What do I take? And then I found a way later where I could do a bioenergetic scan. That'll check like over 500 health markers, and it tells me exactly what's going on in your body, what you need, and the order that we need to heal you in. So that just makes it a lot quicker, a lot simpler.
I guess we'll start this one off. Marvin, what do you got, brother?
Man, a lot. So I guess, what I think about when I think about sports science, sports technology, I'm looking at guys like Tom Brady and LeBron James, and I'm looking at how they're playing. They're in their sports, playing for decades, whereas, prior to that generation, if you played, 15 years in the league, man, that was considered to be,
exceptional.
Yeah, these guys are going 20 plus years. What you're working on specifically for athletes, I mean, is this something that you see helping them prolong their career? Do you see, the benefits of this, allowing people to play those type of sports that come with those type of injuries and play longer? Is what you're doing something that directly impacts that?
Yes. So what happens is, as we get older, certain systems slow down, but they've determined that doesn't need to be the case. If you can keep the system running optimally, so getting the proper energy, the proper flow there, stopping all the damage. I mean, the damage is where things start slowing you down. You get the scar tissue, you don't have the flexibility. Mm-hmm. But there's ways of dealing with each of these things so that your body can maintain optimal. They can actually get better over time because they're doing things at the cellular communication and information layers.
Right.
So we go beyond all the chemistry. We go right back into what makes all the chemistry work in the system.
Mm-hmm. And for someone who starts your programming, example, if a 10-year vet, NBA vet walked into your facility, walked into your office, wherever it may be, like realistically, how soon are they seeing benefits? I mean, what you're doing is different from the traditional norm, I would say.
Yes.
How soon can they see benefits? And then from there, is this a lifelong program that you have that you would consider it to be?
So they would start seeing benefits in something as little as 2 weeks, because we're getting into sleep, circadian rhythm. I mean, there's a lot behind this program, but we're working at the subcellular level to make sure everything can function the way it should. So I'll give you a little bit of an example. If you have a phone and the battery is running dead, what happens to your phone? It doesn't work properly, right? So one of the things that's checked is all the battery in the body that power this information field, and it's going, can we run all the functions we need to? If we can't, we power those systems up so they can function properly. So when the phone gets down to 7%, it goes, well, I'm not going to shut off that. I'm going to shut off that feature, that feature, that feature. I'm only going to do this and look for a signal. So to carry that analogy further, what we do is we have information pathways, which is like your signal. So if your signal isn't getting to each part of the body, we have ways of making that actually get to the right part of the body at the right time so that everything regenerates. So over a 24-hour period, your energy, your chi, goes to every single part of the body. If it doesn't get there, that part of the body doesn't get its regenerative effects. So our system is checking to power up the system, looking for the energy flow, and then it's looking to correct the information at each part of the body so that it can function at its best. And this takes in a lot of stuff like 24-hour rhythm, sleep patterns, everything, regeneration from damaged tissue. All those things are included and incorporated into there.
Yeah, it's awesome to hear you break it down the way you do. I think it's something that's probably complex that, you kind of just made sense to a guy who's I don't have a science background, but, you hear, as I was saying, you hear a lot about, you take guys like Gale Sayers, guys who were great football players in the NFL who had short careers because of injuries, and you hear about how sports science, as I was saying, and technology advanced that. Here you breaking it down makes a lot of sense. It really does. And I would think that what you have is something that really all and I think from the perspective of an athlete, obviously Ben and I were athletes, played collegiately, had a chance to play professionally as well. So that's my perspective really. And, I'm thinking this would benefit any of these athletes. Are you in connection with athletes, or is this your attempt to market your services and let people know that you exist?
I used to do more athletes when I was at the University of Alberta. So I had a store there. I used to work with a lot of the athletes because they could do the VO2 max testing, those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. I don't have access to that currently, so I will still work with athletes. And we can do remote, but I'm trying to get back into doing bigger in depth. But I mean, I will have to work with some other practitioners for the athletes locally, go and get this tested. I mean, a lot of the athletes that I were working with, their oxygenation was very poor. They were breathing improperly. So they're running out of steam, right?
Right.
If I can get them to breathe properly so that they're actually oxygenating the body fully and bumping up, in Chinese theory, you have something called vitality from the kidneys. If you take 3 deep breaths right now from your belly, you're going to be more energized. Very simple thing, but I mean, It makes a huge difference. And I mean, you can see that impact immediately.
Right. Okay.
And then we used to work with a little bit Twitch 1, Twitch 2, Twitch 3 type muscle tissues and that. But I mean, I need the proper equipment that someone would have to analyze those aspects. But I mean, I can sit there and go, here's what you need to find out. Here's how you would optimize those systems. And then we can look to see if they are getting optimized.
Thank you.
Ben, your first one?
I mean, David, just listening to this, I mean, it reminds me of this. When I get drafted and, I got all this money, I don't know what to do with it. And so I get a financial planner and they breaking it down. They're not saying, hey, man, let's tell you how to budget. They're telling you, let me show you how you use your money. They started with how much money you think you got and how much money you think you spent. Because they'll get your attention. And then I'm like, oh, man, I ain't spent but like, $50K. They was like, nah. And then when they showed me, and they're showing me how you get here, little by little by little, just listening to you, it sounds like you're showing athletes who we think we know, nutritionists who think they know. Like, and it ain't even it ain't even you coming at them and saying, no, dude, give me 3 deep breaths real quick. And then they do it. Like, you see how much it's because, as Marvin was saying, athletes, we understand what the body can do. We don't understand what it takes to keep the body doing it. We know I can tell you what it can do because I do it. It sounds like what you're saying is, look, man, you ain't even breathing properly. Before you even get to the supplements and the sleep, I saw something here that was talking about energy currency. You know, like words like that. Do you see yourself starting? Because I see yours. And my question is, what do you think it's going to take to get the sports world? Because we are very stubborn over here. In the sports world, we are about. People think who's the most stubborn people? People in sports, coaches, players, people that's been doing it because it's been effective. You're trying to say, are you trying to say there are a lot more LeBrons and Tom Brady's out there if they have a system like yours?
There are, yes. So part of it is the athletes, to a large extent, want to be told what to do. The first thing we need to do is work with them almost like a coaching thing to go, where do you want to go? So like you were talking about the financial planning, that's the first question they should ask you is, where do you want to go? What's the final goal here? Now we're going to break up the steps to get where you need to go. So, I mean, we've worked with people where they can hike. I get them to hike up a mountain. So we have a place here, Lake Louise, and they will hike up the mountain. There is very low oxygen there, and you climb at a very steep rate. So if I get them to go hike up there twice, they come back and I said, how's your workout now? And they're like, it's easy, because their system has optimized the red blood cells and all the different things to carry the oxygen, nutrients, and things around the body. So there's different supplements that'll achieve the same goals. But I mean, it's a simple thing like that going, what I was doing last week is now easy. So I mean, we've looked at stuff and how would you train if you're going to go up to the Himalayan mountains, right? If you start hiking up and you get the lack of oxygen, your whole system shuts down. There are ways of optimizing and preparing you to go on that trek so you're not getting the altitude sickness. But the efficiency that the body comes in, because it says I have to become efficient to do this, body's amazing. I mean, it'll support you when it can.
With that being said, me and myself and Marvin, we are the exception. We thank God for the fact that we made it all the way to the highest level. We know how rare that is. Mostly everybody's going to play a sport, Pop Warner, just they're going to play. How do we package this thing? I'm looking at this body with this body shield thing, 45 second scan. What is the biggest wow moment? Because if I come in, I do this scan, you breaking down stuff that you didn't even know could be broken down. What has been some of the answer you've got when someone says, look, man, you see your kidneys right here? We talking about a guy, he only eat vegetables. He get 9 hours of sleep. He looks the part, but you like, yeah, you look it, but ultimately you're not there. What are some of the answers you've gotten when you saying, look, man, your kidneys are doing this or your lungs are doing that? Because I'm pretty sure you've gotten some explanation when you telling them, look, I'm not telling you, I'm only telling you what this chart is telling me. I'm not coming at you. What has been the wow moments with some of your clients that they had to have?
If I ask any athlete, are you eating healthy? They're going to say yes. But I'm going to ask them then going, are you eating healthy for yourself? So that's where the bio-individuality comes in, going, what fuel mixture do you run off of versus somebody else? And that'll be totally different. So there's different people that'll run off different ratios, fats, proteins, carbohydrates. That's why all these diets are out there and they work for about a third of the people. And the other people go, I don't feel good on that at all. So I'll give you an example. What's the difference between broccoli versus cauliflower? They both come from the same plants originally, the mustard plants. They both have more or less identical nutrients. But people will tend to I do well on broccoli and other people will do well on the cauliflower. So there's something called metabolic typing. If they have polar opposites as far as what they do according to your different type. So we start with blood typing because that gives an idea of how your body runs, produces energy. So there are 13 main homeostatic systems that we can optimize. A nervous system and how your body produces energy are the two main ones. So we always focus on those. So you've heard all the things going the vegetarian debate where people are going, oh, I should eat vegetables, I should eat meat. And people go, this is what I got to do, right? Because this is considered healthy. So if I go meat for certain individual genetic types will make you more alkaline. The other types, it will make you more acidic. If you go to a regular nutritionist, they won't understand this. So between my wife and me, she'll eat the cauliflower and does well. I eat the broccoli. If we mix them, we're not happy and we slow right down. So people typically need to give up one or two of their favorite foods, and they go, my performance went up that much because I shut the inflammation down in my body. They think they're eating healthy according to everything they've been taught, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not always the case. So the goal is to figure out what they need as a specific individual.
Now, I know both of them talking about.
Hold on. I want to touch on
that. Go ahead.
Just real quick. But you just said something, though. You said most nutritionists wouldn't even understand that. And once again, we talking about this ego-driven environment known as sports. You go in there and you tell a nutritionist, look, how many players you got? I got 100. Are they all eating the same thing? Yes, that's a problem.
For the most part, yes.
That's a problem. And obviously, I get it. You got to feed 100 people. But you're saying...
I'd give 100 people 100 different plans, yeah.
So you saying those guys over there, they shouldn't be eating broccoli. But that's why. So you telling me that's what I'm saying. Just listening to you, David. I mean, obviously, this is me, retired, no longer a player. My wife wouldn't think I'm the best listener, but here I'm pretty good. But it's like just listening to you, just something. Every aspect of before we even get to the body, man. What are they eating? Oh, they're eating this, they're eating that. And I went to Yale, and that's fine. But his blood type is this. His blood type is that. He shouldn't. Please tell me he ain't eating rice. Oh yeah, he shouldn't be eating it. Why? So this thing is like super duper integral, is what I'm saying. To be able to say, look, man, you sound like I said. Just listening to you, I kept money in the National Football League, not because I made a bunch, because I kept a bunch because of my financial people. I was budgeted. They was like when they told me, do you think billionaires become billionaires because they spend a lot of money? No, but they know how to save it. They know how to make it and let it work for them. You just bought a car that cost $100K. Yeah. But he said you couldn't buy it twice. We couldn't stop you. That's a nice car, but it had 4 wheels and a key. You like, and so I'm just listening, trying to say, I'm on your side, number one. I'm just saying, just listening. Some of these coaches and players got to be able to say, look, I'm just here to help you. I'm trying to get you optimal performance, which is what most athletes want.
Yes.
I ain't never heard the blood type thing. I'm like, I'm saying, I get
blood type is only a small part of it. But I mean, the blood type theory is if you take a certain food, so on your blood, there's a little sugar molecule that makes the difference between a blood type A, a blood type B, blood type O. So certain foods have something called lectins on there. They will bind to certain blood types a little more. So blood type, we use that as a general starting point because it'll give us a general guideline going, you do well on this fuel mixture. But then we need to go much deeper because that's only a good starting point. But for the average person, that's enough, right? How do you feel after you eat a meal? That's our big question. If you felt really good half hour after eating, let's take a look at what you ate. You feel really bad half hour after eating, and we go, well, what did you do wrong? So try mixing this, put a little more fat in there, maybe take the fat out. And people go, oh, you're right, I felt better when I did that. So you can try the bacon and eggs with a piece of toast. How'd you feel? Now try the big bowl of cereal. I mean, see how you do. Once you get the patterns and you see the difference, you're going to start listening to your body and trusting. I mean, that's what I do is I try and teach people how to tell what they need and what's good for them.
It sounds like these conversations are going to get so in depth because if you walk into a facility, you talking to the nutritionists by themselves. Like it's just me and you in here. Because the conversation with you is going to be different than I come over and transition over to the players. That's going to be different. Then I go tell the coach. And then you bring them all together to say, hey, I've spoken to you all individually because the conference, but now let me give you the over. Well, that's what we do. That's football. They literally do that. They have individual meetings. They have team meetings. They have special teams meetings, and no conversation is the same because you're speaking to a different audience. But they all know, hey man, this is under health and wellness, and the NFL is always talking about player safety, and people think that's concussions. Oh man, make sure their head's right. Well, most guys ain't getting concussions. You're getting hit hard, but you ain't getting okay. What about the wellness part? Because I remember when, and I know Marvin remember this. I remember when they said statisticians, man, you have no place in football. Don't nobody want to hear about these numbers. They are littered in the NFL now. They are everywhere. They're looking at on third down between 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3. Jalen Hurts is he's 88% effective. Well, I can only wonder if the injuries are going down because the players are eating right, living right, sleeping right. How much? And they're trying to go to an 18th game. They can barely make 17. You finna add another game with a nutrition, and I'm not coming at nutritionists, by the way. I'm not. I'm just saying nutritionists think they know now. They don't want to hear. A coach might listen. Them nutritionists, get out of here. I've been doing this for 35 years, but you go, yeah, but how many injuries you done had in 35 years? How many guys get them knees going out? And I think it's great, man. Just listening to. We always talk about innovation and wanting the best stuff to go for the best players. I know why they wouldn't welcome it, but I also know why they should. When the NFL pushes back, it's because they didn't come up with it. It ain't because it don't work. They're like, hey man, how do we take credit for this? Make a movie about it. Call it concussion.
They did, yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like you could, but I'm just saying, this is intriguing to me just from a holistic way of doing things, of saying, ooh, this is top to bottom. Like, so that's why he eating cereal? Yeah, because that's good for him. See why he eating oatmeal? Because that's good for him. I say, well, I don't like oatmeal. Can they make an oatmeal cereal? Oatmeal nasty as hell, man. I don't want to eat that, but I got to eat it. I got to eat it because it's – but no, this is just – yeah, man. I got a son that play football, and he's always asking me questions like this. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, son. I wish I'm not going to lie to him, but because of stuff like this, it shows me that hopefully, we get to see you a part of sports in general, because it can only help. It can't hurt.
Yeah.
Especially when the information.
Well, it's not just about the nutrition. It is about the injuries and various things. So if I have an injury in the knee, I don't realize that I am not working up to my full potential, because psychologically my body's going, I can't do that. There's that pause, right? Before you're sitting there going, I can make that move, because your body thinks I can't do that. So part of our system actually measures trauma in the muscles, circulatory system, all those things. It will actually point out going, there's an issue here, going, you don't think you can move forward. So we're also going to work on the emotional aspect and going, let's get rid of that thing saying you don't think you can move forward, because maybe you can. So it's like when you damage your leg, so you favor and you put more weight on the other side. Most people that I scan are favoring one side, but they don't realize it. If I get them to walk through a puddle and they look at the sidewalk, they're going, that's how I walk. And I'm like, that's how you walk, right? But they don't realize that their center isn't there. They're actually thinking they can't do certain things mentally. So we will also work to release some of those traumas and various things, because the system picks up tightness in certain parts of the body and it goes, it's this type of thing mentally. So there's a lot more to the system than just the nutrition. It gets into circadian rhythms, hormone balances, toxins that are slowing the system down if you're exposed all the time, whether your body's detoxing them properly. But I mean, the real key where I get real results with people is when I work on the mental aspects, because that's where the real gravy is, going, yeah, I didn't realize I'm holding myself back.
Now, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, like you're talking about the mental aspect, Ben and Marvin touched on the athlete side of thing. What do you say to, the single dad who's, fighting to keep food on the table so he can only eat certain things, and he's dealing with, bad knees, bad ankle, bad shoulder, whatever. How do you tell him to kind of get involved in one of these programs to kind of get him out of the funk that he's in, or her, whatever?
So when we do a scan, I usually spend at least 3 hours with the person afterwards, and they will, by the end, when they leave, understand the main things that are slowing them down. So what's the sleep going to be like for that person? Probably horrible. So if he's not getting into deep restorative sleep, he's not going to have energy next day and he won't be able to focus. And any little task he does is going to take more energy away. And by the end, he's just, I'm tired of fighting, just do what you want. Right? But if I can get him into that deep restorative sleep, his body has regenerated, he has that power, that oomph, and he can now focus. But we'll also work with the brain to get the right things in there for focus. So a lot of different conditions, the nervous system has gotten into the wrong pattern. So CFS, chronic fatigue, all these different conditions, they found the brain is idling at the wrong speed. You change the idling speed, they can start functioning again. But there's three main systems that your nervous system can be in. So they've taught us it's fight or flight or rest and digest. We follow, Steve Porges has a polyvagal theory. He has the freeze response in there as well. So there's the parasympathetic nervous system is the one that's going to go, I'm going to determine where the energy goes in your system. If you have no energy, you shut down. The lizard part of the brain takes in and it says, we just try and cope. I'm not really here. If we have enough energy, we can go into fight or flight, but we don't want to live there because that's the cortisol, all the stress hormones are going to tear the system down. It's great as a motivator, but we're supposed to live in that third stage, which is where the body can rest, repair, and rebuild. And the average person in the Western world doesn't live there. So they're never really getting their full potential because they're not repairing, rebuilding, restoring their system ever. We're in fight or flight to a large degree because so many things happening consistently. There's no break from it. So the body gets trapped in that cycle. And when it can't no longer function, then we go into freeze shutdown mode. So three nervous system states. We also work with the nervous system to go, what states are you in and how we're going to get you to where you need to be.
What would you try to do to get someone out of one of those states that they feel like they're in consistent fight or flight, or they're just frozen and kind of coping with whatever's going on? How would you go about trying to get them out of that?
Well, we look at their limiting beliefs for one. But I mean, there's something called toning the vagal nerve. If you tone the vagal nerve, so it's simple things like pressing the points below your ears. One side's usually going to hurt more, because the brain crosses over and they're going, oh, this side needs more work. We need to balance that side of the nervous system. Before you eat, if you rub your lips, food's coming. System says, oh, food's coming. It gets ready to digest your food. So there's very simple things that can help bump you into the other system. But we also sometimes have to teach stress management because, I mean, that's a large part of it. If we're continuously reacting, we're going to just keep reacting. Once we can get into living in the present moment, now we have a choice to make the right action. And that's huge when we can get people to stop reacting. So if you're angry, that's not necessarily a great thing if you're going to go hit somebody, right? But if you go, I'm angry, I have this fuel, I'm going to show them what I do. Right? What I can do, right? That's much more beneficial. Now you sit there, got some motivation, some fuel to sit there and go, I'm going to show these guys what I can do. Now you're propelling yourself forward. So one other thing that usually people don't, there's three centers of wisdom. So one of them is the body. What do most of the people think of the body? Oh, it's just there, right? What should the body be? Where I live, my home. So it can be, it's where I live versus a home. There's two big differences from that. Your body is one of your centers of wisdom. It's the one that stores a lot of the trauma and says, I'm just trying to protect you. But it stops functioning very well as it tries to protect you. Every time you get a trauma, you tighten up. So now I can't move properly. And I can't move forward because mentally I don't think I can. So becoming friends with the body is a big one. See, we're talking about the people with the ankles and all that. The ankles are feeling supported from an emotional, spiritual point of view and being able to move forward. So if I don't think I can do that, my ankles are going to remain worse because they're not getting that energy on the other level from the nervous system. So, I mean, this is a multifaceted thing. I mean, that's why it's so great.
What's the other two? You said it was three of them. You said you got body. What's the other two of them?
So the body is your first center of wisdom. So if you take an earthworm, some scientists apparently like doing this, they cut the heads off the earthworms And they basically determined that the enteric nervous system, so the digestive tract, is a brain unto itself. Now the brain develops, you get the spinal cord comes in, you have your brain stem, that's the lizard part of the brain. And then you have different parts of the brain that kept getting added on for mammals. And then we have like the neocortex. So the first center of wisdom is the body / gut. Second one is actually your nervous system response. So I can be in freeze mode, I can be in fight or flight, or I can be in I'm happy, healthy, and repairing, rebuilding, and ready to go. The most important one is actually your mind. But in ancient traditions, the mind is actually the heart. So the heart has its own nervous system, has its own brain functioning, but the brain field only goes out about the head for a very short period. Your heart field is the one that actually says the world's a safe place, yes, no, and interacts with everybody else. So it's the heart field is the one that's supposed to really guide us. And that balances the mind, the heart, and the body when you can actually be centered from the heart. But that's a difficult one for people to get into because you have to focus on the gratitude and all the spirit.
David, not to get biblical, so in the Bible where it says, so if the man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Is that true?
Yes. Because your heart determines basically your state that you're in, how you're relating to everything else. That's the heart. That's not the mind energy. The mind is saying, how am I going to react to what's happening? So it's a little different from the scientific point of view, but any ancient culture understood it that way.
David, somebody come into your office, do they even know who they are walking out? They're like, I don't even know who I am. I walk to see this dude. This dude talking about the heart and the brain. I think it's a good thing, but the way you breaking it down is letting us know, dude, like, how complex does it get? Like you giving us all these things, and I agree with it, but you say you meet with everybody 3 hours after they do the scan. You said
Yes.
at least 3 hours.
Yes.
You said.
Because I want you knowing how you got to your point in the life, what's slowing you down, and even the why, if we can manage to do that. So now you got a starting point. For most people, they're going, we're done now, right? For me, I'm going, you know where you are and why. Now, where do you want to go? For me, that's the starting point. For most people, that would be the end game already.
Yeah.
Dave, I'm happy to hear you attach mental health to this, because even though I think that men today could all be a little bit mentally tougher, I think it's important to be honest about how you feel. And I think what you're talking about is having people feel better about themselves,
Yes.
just based upon their health and the progress they can make and movement and diet and all that stuff. I think that's outstanding. My question deals more with the what do you call it again? The things you put on your body to detect health.
Yes.
The wearable
Okay.
technology. The wearable technology.
This is the little device we use to scan.
Right.
So you hold your hand over this, and then it actually puts a whole bunch of frequencies through the body. Where they come back clear, your body is good.
Now,
where there's an interference pattern, it says, here's where things aren't functioning as well as they could, and then it tells us what order we have to work on those.
I think when most people hear like wearable technology, and this is an area obviously that you're knowledgeable about, they think of like the Apple Watch. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? That's what I think of, and I'm blown away at just the little bit that they can give you from the watch. I have one, I don't wear it. Where do you see, like, how far, like, wearable technology to me is so futuristic? If you go back to like the 1985, I think it's like RoboCop is what you think of, or the Jetsons. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, where, for those who aren't really in the field of science and don't understand, how far we've come, where is this going? Like how far are we going with wearable technology? Where do you see it in the next 10, 20 years?
It's the future of medicine is energy and information, because that's what runs the system. The chemistry and all those are run by this main system, and that determines whether all the chemistry, everything's going to function properly or not. In every cell of the body, there's hundreds of thousands of transactions that happen per second. What's controlling this? It's not you, per se, because you couldn't think that fast. So there is a system that runs this. So it's like the operating system. So if I have an operating system on my computer, let's say I have a virus. If I have a virus, that messes up the operating system. I can get rid of the virus. How's my system work? It still doesn't function because the operating system's messed up. If I reinstall the operating system, is what we do, is going, here's the correct information to run everything. Body says, I can take over from here. And I remember, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So what was the first part of your question again?
Yeah, I mean, really, no, that was good. I mean, really, I was just asking about where.
Okay, sure. So like there's the aura ring. We'll use that one as an example. Everybody's concerned about their sleep and different things.
Right.
It's good up to a point, going, let's see what's happening while I sleep. But if you're going to wear this thing overnight and obsess about it, we're not helping. We're making you more stressed. So that's the thing. I got people who wear these things and they're like checking everything 5 times a day. That's not overly helpful unless you have a reason going, I'm checking my blood pressure, I'm checking this, my oxygen. How does this change throughout the day? I need to see my pattern.
Yeah.
So you have to use it so that it's actually useful information for you and not just like a crutch where you're going, oh, this and oh, I didn't have my aura ring. I don't know if I slept good last night. I mean, that's not helpful. Yeah, Number 2, all of these machines will generate electromagnetic field, which isn't really native to the body. So wearing a wearable all the time isn't always beneficial for your body.
Mm-hmm.
So they get people to wear it on the right. Well, on the left, typically, right? Left, this is your thyroid chakra, is actually your second thyroid chakra is on your left hand. Where should you be wearing it if is on your right? So the right, left hands have different functions, giving, receiving. So there's an energetic balance. You're either fighting your system from an electrical point of view or you're enhancing it, depending on if you put it on the right or left side. So, I mean, there's a lot of subtleties in here that they're not teaching anymore.
For somebody to work with you, do they need to be where you're at so you can monitor them however you need to?
Not anymore. So we've upgraded the system now so we can do remote scans through people's voices. So if they set up an account with me, I can do scans and do people anywhere in the world. Now I have a preference for being able to see the person because I can see their posture. I can see when I say something, they go, okay, they changed, they shifted here, they were uncomfortable with that, or, oh yeah, that's good, and they relaxed. It's better when I can see the people. It's harder to work remote. And it doesn't work as well over the doing things on like online. Still can work because I can go, here's the basic things you need to work on, change and all that. But it's better when the people can come into the office, but that's not a possibility for a lot of people, right?
Right.
So yes, we have a way of doing a voice scan where if you log in, it will use your voice instead of the little machine. And it will still give a pretty good imprint on how you see yourself because your voice is your truth, right? So it's still going to go, here's how I see myself and how I relate to the world. So it's still a reasonably accurate scan.
Do somebody's voice?
So your voice is your truth. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I'm just.
Well, even thyroid. When people have thyroid, they don't have their truth. They can't express it.
I mean, Dave, if a CEO of a company had 500 workers hire you to do it, he said, look, every one of my workers are going to do this. How long would you have to move there?
Probably.
So if a CEO go, look, I got 1,500, you tell the missus, sweetie, we got.
I mean, it depends where the people are at. If they understand a lot of the nervous system and the spiritual aspects, it's a lot easier because they go, I got it. I know what I need to do, right? There's other people that are going to take a little more. I have to hold their hand for a little bit to get them going because they don't trust themselves yet.
If Jerry Jones hire you, we'll never see you again, man. I'm telling you, if Jerry Jones hire you, he gonna have you saying, right? No, you know what? No. If you get hired by Jerry Jones, he gonna live another 100 years, David. If he hire you, he gonna be here for the next 100 years. He's made it this far without you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, you might be the. No, I'm.
Then we'd have to train more people.
Well, I'm fascinated by the fact that I never even thought about something as simple as people put your watch on your left wrist instead of your right wrist because of what the left wrist does compared to. It's little nuances like that. Like
it's the little nuances they don't teach you. Yeah.
Go a long way though, man. Just listening to you say something to me. Oh, he kind of moved. You know, if it's one thing to tear my knee up in a sport, it's another thing for you to tell me why. Like this, no, this is why. When you walk, you favor this because you know the older a player is or the older a person is, they want the information. The younger they are, man, just get me to the finish line so I can go. Like I don't. You're gonna lose me with the information. So how do you do that? How do I say the younger they are, the attention span is smaller? Not saying that my attention span is long now, but it's a lot better. Because when you talk about athletes, you talk about bottom line, microwave. I want it right now so I can go get back to what I do. How do you package it that way from people who you say, hey, I need you for 3 hours after you do the scan? They're like this. Yeah. And how would you package that?
You're right. That is a problem with the athletes. They're all ready to go and just tell me one thing to do, and I'm going to go and we're good and I'm done, right? But when they can be very clear about their goal, that's what it comes down to. If they're clear about their goal, they're going to persevere and get through it and actually spend the time going, I want to know all this. If they're not clear on their goal, then they're just going, oh, well, I read about this supplement this week. I'm going to try this one, right? Like their attention span is very quick. Like even protein powders, most of the athletes I know switch every month, right? What's the latest new one out there, right? And I'm like, no, which is the tried true one that works, right? So even protein, there's different types of protein. So you can have white meat, you can have red meat, you can have fowl, you can have like hemp protein, which is a very, very good one. Each of those has their benefits, but each person's going to run off them differently. So some break down quicker, some break down longer. So if I do like certain fish, they break down over a very long period of time. Certain people are going to get gout from it. Other people are going to go, I run well because this is a nice, slow, even release. So if I have the quick digestive system, I burn off everything. I need the heavy foods. If I don't have a good digestive system, I'm going to eat the light fish and it gives me enough energy. They tend to do more of the carbs. They don't do well on the fats, protein, slows their system right down. So I'll give you a better example here because everybody's heard of adaptogens like ginseng and different things like that. So how would you determine which adaptogen you need? Everybody's just, oh, I read about this one. That's the one I want to try because it's the big hot one right now. I would sit them down and going, no, we need to balance your system. In Ayurvedic, Chinese, all these, we would always try and balance their system. That's the entire point. So if you're overstimulated, I wouldn't take a ginseng. I'd take a nice calming adaptogen like holy basil, tulsi. If I need to lower the cortisol level, I'm going to take a nice one like ashwagandha that's going to lower your stress hormone. All of them help balance your body, physical, mental, emotional, and help you handle it, but you need to do a balancing. So in Chinese, you have warming herbs, cooling herbs, moisturizing herbs, drying herbs. You have stimulating and calming. So the whole point is to try and figure out what will balance your system. Now you're going to get into that parasympathetic rest, digest, and healing mode. If I give you too much stimulation, you're already overstimulated, you're just going to be angry. Right? Which people do. That's why they're not supposed to stay on ginseng for too long. But they like that kick, right? A lot of the athletes, so those are the ones they get hooked on. But when you get overstimulated, you need to back off, go on another one for a while, try that, and then you can maybe go back to the stimulating one for a while. But the goal is always to balance.
It's hard to find that balance too, because you look at how a lot of people go about treating themselves, and a lot of like, oh, I seen this on Facebook, I seen this on TikTok, I seen this on Instagram. This is supposed to help me with XYZ. This is supposed to help me with this, and you see a lot of times that people wind up putting stuff in their bodies that aren't really going to help them for what they really need. What would you say to these people that they're trying to get their wellness through these ads on social media apps?
Yeah. So let's take a look at caffeine. Caffeine is one of the more popular drugs. They have the energy drinks, there's coffee. I mean, there's a whole bunch of different versions. It's fairly well accepted. People think caffeine gives you more energy. Caffeine doesn't give you more energy. Caffeine stops something called adenosine. There's receptors that make you, when you feel tired, they turn on. This blocks those receptors so you don't feel tired. So big difference between the two, but people think they're getting a kick of energy, which is usually just the sugar in there. So if you actually go, well, how many energy drinks are you taking a day? And it's like, well, 1 used to work, now I'm on 2, and now 4, and now I'm like drinking 6 a day, right? I mean, logically at some point you go, this isn't working, right? It's draining energy from my system rather than giving me. Even a cup of coffee taken at the appropriate time can give you more energy, but that's not first thing in the morning, which is what everybody does. It actually lowers your energy for the rest of the day. So there's a natural cortisol spike when you wake up, melatonin gets shut off, it goes down, cortisol, melatonin go backwards from each other. So if you look at bright lights, your melatonin shuts off, your cortisol goes up. If you take a coffee at that point, you're actually stressing the body, your energy goes down the rest of the day. Now, if you wait an hour and a half, now drink your coffee, it's actually bumping up your energy appropriately to keep the cortisol where it should be.
That's typically when I
want. Timing has a lot to do with everything.
Yeah, I typically not. It's not the first thing I do, or even within the first hour of the day. But I normally after I've gotten up, gone through my daily routine, X, Y, and Z. Then I'll, as I get ready to have something to eat or whatever, it'll almost be like you said, like an hour and a half after I've gotten up. That's typically when I have it. So at least I know
marketing online is teaching you this is going to do this, and you're going to feel that impact. Yes, but at the cost of the body. So it's not giving you more energy. It's actually robbing energy from other systems to give you that temporary boost of energy. And then you're going, I'm even more tired than I was before. And if you have a thyroid issue, it's going to say, shut it down. I can't run at that speed.
At least I know I'm doing that part right.
But that's saying something though, right? Like just to tell somebody, no, it's not giving you energy. It's just robbing energy from other areas. Like that'll get
borrowing.
Because we think, of course it gives me energy. You go, it's not. And it's like, that's what I mean when I say when you hit certain points, that gets people attention because we believe the myths. We ain't ask nobody now. We don't talk to people like you. Of course it gives. Of course I
feel more energy. Yeah. And then I crash.
That's what I'm saying.
I think about the crash because I take another drink.
I know people who drink energy drinks like water. Like, dude, every time, like, yeah, man, I just take it. Like, bro, it obviously ain't working. If you drinking that many, oh yeah, no, I just need a quick pick me up. You've had 6 energy drinks today. You're going to have more to pick me up. You're going to have a huge letdown when you finally go to sleep. It's like, I'm saying stuff like that is what I mean when I say the information, and it's how you say it. Like you can give, we'll ask a question and Marv, you'll give an analogy. You'll say, let me give you the technical medical terms, and let me give you the layman's terms. Let me show you what I'm really saying. That's why I say I know this could work, because the one thing about athletes is this, which is crazy. They might not like it, but if a coach say we doing it, they're going to do it. Like if a coach say, hey, man, we doing this, I don't want to hear nothing else, they're going to be like this. Because it's needed. And I like how Steve...
Well, there's a competitive nature going, if they're doing it, I can't afford to be left behind, so I better do it too.
I'm a DM LeBron today and say, LeBron, I know your secret elixir. I know what you're doing. I know who you are. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody wants that competitive edge. If not, you want to feel good. Like, dude, I want to. Like, I know a lot of people eat, really, really good now. It's not because, they wanted to. Look, man, I want to live longer. I want to live healthy. You start out with just you. Now, I got a person with my last name. We have children. I want to live long enough to see my little ones. But I want to be able to halfway chase my grandchildren. I might not catch them, but at least I can, hey, come here and thread them. You better not run out. I want to be able to at least do those things and just listen to what you're saying. We pay for everything else. I mean, if I got an Apple Watch, they got the people that can really wave their hand and pay I said, this shit pay for your groceries? Like, yeah, I just wave. You got something? Yeah, we just, you know what I'm saying? We doing everything else. Might as well try to have something My wife, you know what I'm saying, she's out of town now. She was like, I broke my Apple Watch. She's losing her freaking mind. I don't know what my heartbeat is. I don't know how many steps. I'm like, God dang, girl. It's like, I said the dumb thing of, I'll get you another Apple Watch because I don't have one. I looked, I say, wait a minute. Do you got insurance on this Apple Watch? This thing costs like $400. Like, but I get it when you're talking about you want something that, I want something that is beneficial, but it's beneficial in a way to where, you know, we sound a smart in place. I'm going to tell somebody later on, that soda ain't giving you it's not giving you.
But you touched on another very, very important point there. So if they look at all the, what they're called blue zones, which is where everybody lives very, like a lot longer, two things. They have better water with minerals in it typically, but the big factor, a lot of them smoked, drank, did all these things. They're like, I don't worry about that. And they're living to be long, like a higher age than everybody else in the other parts of the world. They have purpose is the real key, and a community support. They have something to live for. That's a large part. And it's going, I want to see my great-great-grandchildren get married, right? They have a goal like that. That's why they're living so long, because they have a purpose. And socially, they have a social network that supports them. So that's one of the big keys. Everybody thinks it's a supplement. It's actually the social aspect.
So the person that goes into the doctor and they coming in, they smoke. Doc gonna ask, man, you still smoking? Yeah, doc, you know how I do. But they 89. And the doctor is 50 saying, man, what's going on with you? Look, man, I don't do a whole lot, but I got a loving family. I got a loving support system. That's crazy. I mean, I'm just saying, this stuff is blowing my mind, because what you're saying is you saying things like, look, it's not what you thought it was. It was this. They're not getting this because it's that. It's like, really, like, yeah, man. It's because, like they ain't got a lot of money. They're not
I
the
think
most.
It was Dan Siegel. He said, I can tell you if you're going to live. He worked in a cancer ward, and he basically said, I can tell you if they're going to be around in 2 years or not. He says, what are you living for? They gave an appropriate answer. He says, they'll be around in 2 years from now. If they don't, they're gone. I mean, it sounds cold, but I mean, he was able to tell very quickly, because if you have nothing to live for, right, there's no point.
And I'm guessing that's what you ask your clients. You ask them when they come in, I mean, before we get started, what you living for?
We do get into purpose a lot, yes, because that's where your passion, your energy comes in. If you have low energy, I'm going, well, do you like what you're doing? They're like, no, right? They're not going to have energy. But if I go, think of something you enjoy doing, they perk right up. They've got energy immediately. I mean,
go ahead, Marv. I'm just, you go ahead, Marv.
Dave, and I don't know if you're a big American sports fan or not, but Kobe Bryant, him and a guy named Junior Seau, who Junior is an NFL Hall of Famer, passed away, great USC Trojan. They were known for having their own doctors. They didn't deal with the facilities. They had their own team of doctors. They say Kobe had his team in Germany. And they were just ahead of the curve of sports science, sports technology. You sound like one of them dudes that they held in their teams. You know what I'm saying? One of those futuristic doctors who was, is up on all this new stuff. With that said, let me ask you this. You're in Canada. We got some American viewers who are watching you and wondering and hoping and praying that you take Blue Cross Blue Shield. I know for every client you have, it's a different program. You said that, and that makes complete sense. But just out of curiosity, are you taking American insurance, or is this?
No. In Canada, they basically said, don't even ask us. It won't happen.
Right.
In the U.S., so occasionally we can do this. I can do it under coaching. Mm-hmm. So if you have a discretionary account for your thing, they might say, oh, doing some life coaching or nutritional consulting, and they'll go, okay, we will accept that, and they will reimburse.
Right.
But as far as insurance, they tried it. It's dealing with the insurance companies just hasn't worked. Yeah.
Okay.
They make it very difficult, different rules every different place. So, yeah.
Well, Dave, you make sense. You know they ain't going to work with you like, hey, nope. Insurance don't tend to want to do stuff that makes sense, right? That's kind of what I don't get it. What do you mean? My doctor just said I need this. Yeah, but it fall under the list of that's under the common sense, keep you living longer. Nope. I have to come out of pocket for that one. But insulin is just a little bit lower, depending on where you live and depending on the program you're in. I know you're a diabetic, but come on now, we got to be flexible. Like, no, because it is a total different situation, total different argument. But the same people that you go through, you go to CVS or Walgreens to get your medication. The same people you're talking to get the medication, CVS owns that. And then if you go up, they own all of it. They own every last bit of it, saying stuff like, "We're just trying to make sure things are right for the customer, patient." Well, I want to use David. Nah, you talking about the guy from Canada? Nah. Because he gonna let you know. Are you trying to say he gonna let me know that what y'all BS? 100%. We got to keep you coming, baby. We don't want you to. If you get well, what is that gonna mean for us? No money. Yeah. We need you coming back. Which is. You said what's the guy's name? You said he worked at the cancer place. What you said his name was?
Dan Siegel.
LeBron, listen, we need David in America, okay? We need you to fly him into one of your houses, one of your facilities, pay him a whole bunch of money, and say, hey, LeBron, do something for American citizens. Because if LeBron, I know you done spoke with LeBron. I'm going to say, LeBron, you ain't slick. You and Tom Brady, y'all ain't slick. Y'all can play for 40 years and still be starters and winning Super Bowls and MVPs. Everybody thought it was Tom Brady drinking them beet smoothies. No, it was David. You're a liar, Tom Brady. You wasn't drinking them beet smoothies. You wasn't in no hyperbaric chambers and all that kind of. Do you think that kind of stuff works? The hyperbaric chambers and all that stuff. You think that stuff works?
They can, but used as part of an entire plan again. So it can actually red light therapy, really big across America right now. Wonderful for certain things or relieving joint pain, but where's the energy come from? It's taking energy from your core to the extremities. So you can actually be deteriorating the energy for all your core organs by doing red light therapy. So we have ways of telling if it's going to be beneficial or not. But I mean, if you do far infrared, now that passes through the entire body, we're charging everything up. Chances are that's going to be beneficial for you. So it has to be case by case going, is this actually a therapy that's going to help you as part of your overall plan or not really so much, right? Because it's giving you temporary energy, but then overall it's not really helping you because it's taking energy from another part of the body. And I mean, I wish that was simple, but
no, I don't want it. Don't supposed to be. I'm just like you say. I'm listening to you. I like how the more the conversation goes, you telling us more nuances of, yeah, man, left wrist and right wrist. Oh, you talk about cauliflower versus broccoli. You talking about, what do you want to live for? I can tell you how long you're gonna live and all these. But it all, like you said, it's all for one plan. It's all for something bigger that you're trying to do. Because the thing about athletes is, it's when you no longer an athlete. You talk about life hitting you hard. When you walk away from the game and everything goes away, ain't no more nutritionists, ain't no more none of that stuff, ain't no dietitian, none of that. Now, just because I know how it looked, don't mean I know how to execute it. That's when it gets crazy. When you talk about that aspect of it, it's almost like saying, hey, you about to transition away from sport, whether that's high school, college, pro. That's when David comes in for real to say, all right. You ain't never cooked for yourself before. How old are you? I'm 35. Dang, you ain't never made a meal? You ain't never measured nothing? And it's crazy because, and they got plenty of money in the bank. Some of them got a lot of money in the bank. It's over with. They don't know. And the mental health side is what Marvin talked about. That's just a male thing. Guys, oh man, I'm good. Mental health, we don't do that. We don't do that. Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good. You don't see that nice car outside? You ain't see that gated community?
Well, you got the two kinds of people now. You have the now what versus now what, right? What's new? What's my new challenge, right? And that will determine where they're going to go. If it's a positive thing or they're going, well, life's over now and that's it, right?
Listen, I'm sold. You guys, look. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got to listen. I got to go pick up. I got to go pick up my wife from the airport here in a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And my wife is like most of us. My wife is way smarter than me. She didn't marry me because of my IQ. Thank God for that. But she's the information junkie. My wife, she would call herself a nerd. I got her today. I said, listen, I'm gonna say, you want a soda? Because she's like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, let me tell you about this Coke Zero. You know what I'm saying? Just to I think it's David, man, you him, man. I mean, like, do you see is your goal to get to the States to help more people? Like, what is David? You're talking. What is your goal with all of this?
My goal is actually more to educate people. I'd rather help 1,000 people than go do a big seminar and going, here, I'm going to teach you guys how to listen to your body, how to trust it. This is a backup system that can be done. And there's other practitioners that'll do something like I do. They might not do all the balancing the same way. But I mean, I'm supposed to be an educator more. So I'd rather go talk to a whole pile of people and go. So that's one of the things. When I had my store at the University of Alberta, people went, what's the biggest thing you actually got out of that? And I said, I helped all these little kids figure out their lives. So they'd call me up years after because they go around the world. And they go, I'm in Hong Kong now. Like, I'm having this issue. I'm like, what would I have told you? They said, you would have said this. And I'm like, hey, you don't need me anymore. Right? Ultimately, that's the goal, is to educate people so that they can do it themselves. But that requires trusting yourself and your body.
Yeah, Dave, if you notice, just going into this, my first questions dealt with, how in the world are these guys playing ball so long? And, I think part of what you did today was help us understand on a bigger scale, what's going on with these sales and how we're addressing them, and, just how you overall can affect performance and longevity. And I think whether you're an athlete or not, I mean, people want to feel good and be able to function for as long as they can. You know what I mean? And I tell you what, man, you definitely educated me. I mean, you know what you're talking about, because I think you take very difficult matter and you make it somewhat simple. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I think the people listening to the show are going to appreciate. And I am absolutely intrigued to look at your stuff even further, website or whatever you have, because listen, I'm going on 50 this year if it's the Lord's will. And, I feel pretty good. I've lost a lot of weight over the last couple of years, but I want to take it to the next level, whatever that means, So I'm a guy who's not a professional athlete anymore, but I definitely want to just keep this thing going. I don't have any knee pain. I don't have any hip pain. I sleep good at night for the most part, and I want to maintain that, So I'm intrigued, man. I'm saying I've been impressed by everything you're talking about, and I definitely feel educated, much more than I was before. And, I've never really been into wearable technology as much, but I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Technology is supposed to be a tool, right? Not a crutch. That's where some people start using it as a crutch.
Right.
So we have a brain machine that can alter people's entrainment, and I can get you into a different mental state if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, oh, no, somebody cut me off in traffic. I need to go home, get on my machine. But I'm not helping then, right? Going, how do you feel when you're on the machine? Can you pull yourself into that state?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going, okay, they cut me off. Maybe they're just not paying attention. It's okay, right? To take that little step back and basically make better decisions now.
Right.
Ben, any parting questions?
My last one, I heard you say something. You said young man called you that you was helping. He was in I think you said he was in Hong Kong. And he was saying, man, I'm having this pain. And you said, what would you think I would say? And you told him, you don't need me anymore. Is that fulfilling for you to say, look, man, you don't need me anymore? Like, you got it. Like, you got it. You know what to do.
Because once you got it, you're trusting yourself. You know what you need to do to take care of yourself. I mean, that's huge. That's quite rewarding. I mean, there's other people who will be calling me and going, this happened. What do I do? Right? Then they still haven't learned. Somebody tell me, as opposed to what makes sense for me, right?
Marvin, Ben, any final questions before we let Dave enjoy the rest of his afternoon?
Man, I think he's been thorough. And he said enough for me to want to look into this a little bit more. Dave, I'm thankful for your time today, man. It was definitely educational.
Well, thank
it
you.
Was real.
Yeah, appreciate it, man.
All right. Well, Dave, what I typically do as we wrap these interviews up is I kind of throw the proverbial microphone over to you. And then when you would like to thank, shoot out your social media sites, let people know where they can keep up what's going on with you, shoot out your websites, and any parting wisdom you want to give us before we let you go. The time is yours, my friend.
Will your chat thing work here right now?
The chat is always open. We unfortunately only had a few questions in there, but
okay. I just sent the link that will actually go if you want to become a client of me. It sends you to a portal that will allow you to for me to put it in the system, and then it allows people to do a scan. I had a website, I took it down just because it just adds more steps in there.
Okay.
So if you can post that one link that I just put in the studio chat, that's probably the best way. Or people can email me. People can email me at thehealthguy@gmail.com.
Okay. Banner. There we go. Right there. So there's the.
As far as closing, yeah, I don't know. It's better when the link.
Yeah,
when it comes up on the other thing, it's just click it and it works. It's got the big long codes, I know.
Yeah, I know.
So if you can post the link, that'll work better. But I mean, for closing words, two things: trust your heart, trust yourself, trust the process of life. I mean, that's what it's all about. So one of the big questions, you want to know if something's beneficial and if we should be doing it. There's a good question in Buddhism. They go, does the path have a heart? If the path has a heart and will grow good fruit, you do it. If it won't, then you don't do it.
All right, and there's your email up there. I want to throw that out there. So anyone has any questions they would like to ask David or reach out about anything that we talked about, his email's down there at the bottom, thehealthguy@gmail.com. So guys, David, it was definitely a pleasure, definitely a learning experience today. We'll definitely got to have you back on at some point in time in the future, kind of catch back up with you, see how things are going with you.
If I can make sure work, we might even be able to do a scan online just to show people all the stuff that we can cover.
Listen, I'm sure either Ben or Marvin definitely would be game to do something like that, just to kind of see how that works and what's going good or bad with them. We definitely got to link up here again in the future, my friend.
Yes,
David, man, keep doing what you're doing, sir. Man, you are doing God's work, whether you know it or not. I mean, does the path have a heart that will grow fruit? If it doesn't, you're on the wrong path. That's what.
Yes.
Talk that talk, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, David, it was a pleasure. We'll be in touch, and appreciate your time today, my friend.
Yes, thank you for having me here today. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Our pleasure, David. Our pleasure. Okay. All right, everyone. That was David Schmidt. I guess he's going to be our resident health guy moving forward. I guess before we wrap this up, I'm going to ask both of you guys, like, what did you feel that as part of David's wisdom that impaired on us today, that really kind of struck a chord with you? Start with Marvin, then we'll go to Ben.
I think the main thing that he probably reinforced with me is that, I can really stretch this thing out. Like I said, for the most part, I'm relatively healthy. I feel good. I got young kids that definitely keep me active, but I want to maintain this. And I think there's a next level of this for me to stretch this thing out versus a traditional Rocky Balboa, mentality that, I'm serious, what I'm saying? Like, I'm old school, you know what I'm saying? And the technology and the information is out there and it's real. And you got people like him who've put it all together. So I had this information. Now I got to be smart and use the information. But yeah, man, it was positive, man. I enjoyed it. It makes me feel good knowing that I can make this thing last a bit longer. Ben, what about you, brother?
Man, your purpose and goals will decide how long you live. When you living for something, that's he said, it ain't about, we trying to, live healthy, eat healthy, but you got to have something to live for. Like, why are you trying to be? Because I want to be here. I want to be here for those that came from me. I want to see the little ones from the little ones that I created. And so is the man thinking in his heart, so is he. Your heart is what tells the mind what to do. Don't let the mind, tell the heart what to do. And his willingness to be open and honest about this information that he has. Like, he don't, like, I ain't got nothing to hide, man. I'm here to, that's refreshing. And if Jerry Jones hires him, fellas,
I wouldn't be opposed to Jerry living a little bit longer. But let's keep.
It was great. David was he's great to be able to know when he said, "Look, man, I'm just here to help, man. Educate, information. I've done my job. It ain't about." And I'm like Marvin, man. You want to stretch this thing out as long as you can.
Yes.
I have, me and my, me and my wife have 7 between us. 3 of them are grown though. And 1 of them are almost there. But yeah, man, you're trying to stretch this thing out. Our kids want to see us healthy, happy, and enjoying our lives. Outside of just raising them, they want to see my dad, Marvin, man, he have fun. My dad, Steve, he had, like, your son at the football game, Steve, keep yelling. Because that's when he got, hey, because he like, look, man, I'm out there with you. I don't even want to know what you tell your youngin'. Like, hey, boy, knock his head off. And if he don't like it, he picked the wrong sport. He picked the wrong player to go up again. We don't play right.
I tell him the truth. I tell him the truth already. Already, I tell him the truth. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it was definitely a learning experience for me. I hope that we can get more people down here in North America hip to what he's trying to do, what knowledge he's trying to pass on people. Hopefully we can get him changing more lives. Here in North America, I know, like, he's up there in Canada, up there in Ontario doing his thing. But let's hopefully we can get him down here. Not just helping athletes, but helping every day. John and James to kind of better themselves and put themselves in a better position in life. But yeah, it was definitely a fun experience today. I'm glad that Lincoln from Fight Wax hooked us up with it. And speaking of, I forgot it because we were all the talking we were doing, and this episode was brought to you by Fight Wax. It is a health and wellness for your skin. Helps treat cuts, swelling, scrapes, abrasions, rejuvenates and restores stressed skin. Customers have used it for soreness, stiffness, recovery, designed to help athletes of all active lifestyles. Also provides ultra silky, non-greasy feel, deep hydration for everyday skin, help fights dry skin. Customers also use it for eczema, psoriasis, and other skin disorders. And they also got some other products hitting it out there. The soap, the stuff for your pets. So guys, if you haven't already, please go check out Fight Wax, and really do appreciate Lincoln setting us up with David today. That was definitely a fun one. But another fun episode, another fun interview in the books here on the South Florida Tribune. Guys, keep locked in. Make sure you hit that QR code up top. Like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the programming we have here, regardless if it's the Fan in the End, our special interviews, Inside the Pigskin, Fire Up, Marvin and Scott show. We got a full slate throughout the weeks, and always appreciate all the support that everyone does for us. But other than that should put a wrap on today's episode. Appreciate both of you guys taking the time out of your day as well to talk with David and conduct this special interview we had today. I think we all kind of got something out of it today. So other than that, I'm Steve. That's Ben. That's Marvin. That's another episode of The Fan in the End. We'll catch you guys on the rebound. Peace out, my friends.